Have you ever had somebody say something to you that you would look back upon and say, that changed my life? Well, for me, it wasn't a statement. It was a question that somebody posed to me many years ago that changed my life and changed literally the trajectory of my mission. Next up, I'm going to share that question with you and how it impacted me in an enormous way. Let's go. Welcome to God Dream University. I am Bob Upgren. And why are we here? We are here to help you start and grow your ministry. That's it, right? Like, we're here to help you define the calling that God has for you and start and take a step into the dream that He has for you. Or we're here to come beside you and amplify the work that God has already called you to do, and you're doing it. So to that end, I got something free I want to give you before I get into the content. And that free thing is a new masterclass called 3 Secrets to Start and Grow Your Ministry. Now, I got a little secret for you, that these secrets are actually paradigm shifts. Watch this. You think it's this way, but it's actually this way. And what I do is I peel back the onion on 3 very important facets of ministry, and they are going to serve not only people who start ministries, but people who are already orchestrating ministries. So please take advantage of the free, F-R-E-E, I can even spell it, free masterclass that will show those 3 secrets. They'll define them. And what they really are is they're paradigm shifts that are designed to peel back the onion and just help you become more productive, more effective in the calling that God has for you. Now, let's get into the content. I had said initially, have you ever had somebody say something to you that you could actually look back upon and say, that moment, what that person said, changed my life? Can you think of somebody? A lot of times people will define a teacher. They'll define a grandparent. They'll sometimes define a parent. They'll define a coach. They'll define, who are you thinking of right now that voiced something to you? And you could look back upon it and say, that changed me. For me, it wasn't a statement. It was a question. I was a 7th grade boy. It was during the basketball season, and the coaches had us write a goal sheet out of all the things that we had wanted to accomplish during that season, but also in the future. And so I was pretty audacious. I wrote a lot of big bad goals down. And I remember we got done running sprints one day, and the coach came up to me. Everybody else was walking back to the locker room. We were gassed. My hands were on my knees. I was hunched over. I was breathing hard. And he came up and he said, hey, I read your goal sheet. And I'm thinking, oh boy, how do I explain these goals? And he says, do you really want to accomplish all that? And I'm like, yeah. He says, are you interested in accomplishing those goals? And I said, yes, sir. He says, no, I'm not finished. He says, are you interested or are you committed? And he goes on to tell me there's a difference between being interested and being fully committed. You see, if we're interested in something, we're just going to do it when it's convenient, right? If we're interested in something, we're going to manufacture stories that are going to allow us to step out of it if it gets too hard. If we're just interested, we're going to come up with excuses or even have some pre-made excuses in our back pocket so that if it gets too difficult, we can back out of it. You know, if we're interested, we're going to develop internal narratives and external narratives. Internal narratives that we can tell ourselves that will justify why it's okay to quit, and external narratives that will let the world around us know that we really didn't fail. This circumstance made us, have to stop doing what we were doing. Those are the symptoms. Those are kind of the benchmarks of somebody that's interested. We're interested, but if it becomes inconvenient, or if it becomes too hard, or if it becomes difficult, or if there's tension or opposition, because we're only interested, we stop. And he says, this coach goes on to say, but if you're committed, you will do whatever it takes, and you will be willing when the obstacle comes. And there will be an obstacle and opposition and a tension to anything great that you want to achieve in life. He says, when you meet that, you keep going, because you know eventually you will break through. And it was a powerful time for me. And what ended up happening on that day is I got back on the line and I ran a couple more sprints and nobody else was in the gym. And we walked off, and it should have been a Coke commercial. The coach puts his arm around me and says, well done, well done, well done. Well, that changed me. right? And it changed me to this extent. When I took my step of faith into the dream that God was calling me to orchestrate and lead, I remember driving home and I was getting ready, pondering the idea of quitting the job that I currently had and literally step into a vacuum of nothing. And I go into this church and I'm kneeling at the church, true story, and I'm trying to negotiate on my mind, how is this all going to work? And I remember praying, okay, Lord, like, how am I supposed to do this? And most importantly, at the time, I was newly married. God, how do I provide for my family? How do I replace my salary? Because there was no guarantee if I took this step of faith. And I remember the Lord, I didn't hear him audibly say it, but just firmly impressed on me that he said, that is a speck of a speck of a speck on the tip of my finger. I own all things, and I can provide in all ways. And I remember thinking, wow, that gives me the encouragement and the confidence to step. But I remember thinking back to what that coach had said. And so I'm sitting in that church and I'm thinking, am I just interested in this dream that God has for me? Or am I committed? Am I interested? And am I going to step into this and have excuses tucked in my back pocket? And if it gets too hard, I can just lay them out like a card playing pinochle and say I'm out? Or am I committed? Am I willing to do this no matter what? So let me ask you this. Are you interested or are you committed? And let's talk specifically about what God has called you to do. I think of the verse in Proverbs 16:3. It says, commit your way to the Lord and your plans will be established. Other translations will say they will succeed. Commit. It doesn't say be interested. It says commit. Fully commit to the plans, your plans to the Lord, and fully really commit to the plan that the Lord has for you. And it will come to fruition. The plans will be established. You will succeed. It doesn't say that it'll happen exactly the way that you think, but God's a lot of times will take our commitment and he will shape it into his perfect calling. And so if you feel called or if you're in a ministry, I would encourage you with this. Take inventory. Are you interested? Are you operated from a stance, from a posture, from a mindset that you are just simply interested? Or are you fully committed to do this no matter what? I personally believe that any calling that has an attachment of sharing the hope of Christ, sharing the salvation of Christ, sharing eternity with other people is worthy of a commitment and a mindset that says, I will go at all costs and I will stop for nothing. And so if you think your dream or the idea is crazy, or if you're leading a ministry and you're kind of struggling right now, stay with it. Keep running, keep pushing, keep pressing, because God will break through. That is a Red Sea moment where God will part the sea, where God will dry up the Jordan River, where God will show up for you. As it says in the Old Testament, his eyes range throughout the earth, and he looks for the righteous people so that he may what? He may prove himself strong for you. Are you interested or are you committed? My prayer for you is that you would be committed. And again, as I said at the beginning, I just filmed a brand new masterclass that is designed to flush out and to encourage and to produce more commitment into your life. The greater the knowledge, the greater the clarity, and more clarity allows us to go forth with a greater commitment. So take advantage of that masterclass and I just pray that you would honor that calling that God has for you. Don't just be interested. Be fully committed in what he has called you to do and the mission that we all have of serving the Lord and sharing the hope of Jesus Christ. Hey, if you enjoyed this piece of content and felt like there was value in the content provided, or perhaps this information could minister and speak into the lives of other people, maybe even friends that you have, I'm going to ask for your help. Would you please subscribe to this channel so we can join hands together and lead people to become more ministry focused in their lives? Thanks so much. God bless.